Epilogue. My cell buzzes, waking me from sleep. It's Jack.
Meet me at the school in 30?
I groan. I want to see him, but I was really looking forward to sleeping in this morning. I check the time on my cell, shocked to see it's noon. I sit up with such force that I accidentally cause Neutrino to roll away from where she'd snuggled up next to me. She stands and gives me an indignant look. "I'm sorry, girl," I coo. I pull her onto my lap and lavish her with pets. "I will never do it again, okay?" Neutrino tilts her head to look at me, then gives a petite sneeze, which I take as an acceptance of my apology. I gently move her to the floor where she immediately begins her hyper dance. It's something I've caught on to as her warning that she has to go outside. Now. I race madly around my room, throwing on any clothes I can reach, then scoop Neutrino up and carry her to the backyard. She takes off like a shot as soon as her tiny paws hit the grass. I yawn and stretch my arms. I don't remember the last time I slept this late. I can't believe my mom and dad didn't try to wake me. Where are they? I pad into the kitchen and see a note tacked onto the fridge. "You seemed like you needed the rest, so Dad and I went to the farmer's market. Be home later. Mom." As if on cue, my stomach growls. I open the fridge and pour myself a tall glass of orange juice. I grab a banana and 3 oatmeal raisin cookies that Dad made last night. All of this makes what I believe is a very healthy breakfast choice. Neutrino scratches at the back door right after I load my dishes into the dishwasher. I let her in, and she stares up at me, her feet banging against the floor. Her bottom goes up into the air, and she stamps her feet some more. "Here you go, girl," I say. I bend and give her one of the tiny dog biscuits my mom keeps in a glass jar on the counter. Neutrino grabs the biscuit and tears off to the living room. I go back to my room to finish getting dressed. At the last second, I grab my notes from Lab B and shove them into my back pocket along with my cell. When I go to tell Neutrino goodbye, I see she's crashed out in her bed beside the fireplace. I smile at this sweet right now, little dog. I pull the washcloth that serves as her blanket over her, and then retrieve my coat from the peg on the wall by the front door and quietly slip out. The air's chilly, especially with the never-ending sea breeze blowing through the neighborhood. It's strange walking to school on a Saturday, and I feel a little put out. Why couldn't this have waited until Monday? Then again, I really have nothing much to do today, and maybe after our meeting, Jack and I can swing by the beanery for hot chocolate. There's a tapping on a low window when I approach Mims. I look to see Jack waving me around to the back of the building. I stand at the rear exit for a few minutes until I hear it click and the door swings open. I step inside to find the inside of the school isn't much warmer than the outside. In fact, it feels a bit colder. "Brr," I say. "Yeah, Jackson shuts the heat off on the weekends to save money," says Jack. "How did you get inside?" I ask. "There's a small door a few feet away that leads to what used to be a storm cellar. They always leave it open so that when we have baseball games, we can get inside to use the bathroom." "And the alarm?" I ask. School alarms were commonplace in Columbia. I wonder how Jack got the code. Jack laughs. "Mims doesn't have an alarm system." Of course it doesn't, I think. No one on Miller's Island would steal from the school. Just like there are no locks on the lockers, it makes sense that there is no alarm system for the building. The only people who would steal from Mims would have to be outsiders. With only 2 ferry trips to the island each day, it makes for an inconvenient heist and a waste of time. It also wouldn't make sense to rob a school that really doesn't have anything worth taking. I think about how the small town feel of Miller's Island used to bug me. How I used to hate it when I had to ask a local for directions. They'd say things like, "Head east till you hit the ocean, then go north." Or, "Head west till you hit the ocean, then walk 2 piers over on your right." But now, I think Miller's Island is the perfect size for a town. And I love the fact that planning a robbery would be too much trouble for an outsider. I love that one of the benefits of small town life is the safety I feel no matter where I am on Miller's Island. So, what are we doing at Mims on a Saturday? I ask.
Not here.
Says Jack. I follow him to the media center that also serves as the Mims Theater. I realize where he's headed. Although I've only been down the stairs that lead to the shelter once before, it somehow seems a natural, normal thing for us to do. Jack's left the door open at the bottom of the steps, and so we walk right into the shelter. Some things look the way they did when we came here on Halloween, but there are some changes to the small living room, including 2 cots. What have you done? I ask.
Listen, Grace, if we're going to keep doing this time travel thing, we're going to need a better support place than the library. We'll need a hub of sorts or a command center. We need to start storing things where we can get them while we're traveling.
My fingers trail the cord, and I see it's plugged into a socket a few feet away. The electricity is turned on down here? I ask.
It is, and probably has been ever since the shelter was built. I doubt anyone who works here knows that, though,
says Jack. Why not? I ask.
One of my teachers sent me looking for Mr. Jackson one afternoon, and I found him in the electrical closet by the office. The door was open, and so I went inside looking for him. Grace, there are rows and rows of electrical boards, tons of wires and switches everywhere. I doubt anyone knows where all of the electrical lines in this building go.
So, whose laptop is this? I ask.
My dad's,
says Jack.
Well, one of the laptops he and my mom had.
I give Jack a smile. Are you sure you're okay leaving it here?
Absolutely,
says Jack.
If it helps me to see them again.
I think about this for a few moments, prolonging what I feel will dampen Jack's hopes. Look, Jack, we've only done this thing once, I say. But when we did, we went back in time, not forward. So if we go back in time again, like we will need to for you to see your parents, the laptop won't help us at all because it's not going to be there in the past.
But we don't know that we'll always be traveling back in time,
says Jack.
I mean, we don't even know how to control any of this. So if we somehow go forward in time, the laptop will be here. And we may need to go forward in time to when more is known about time travel to understand it. We may need to go forward to learn how to travel to any point in time we want, including the past.
Jack grabs his book bag and opens the front pouch. He holds a small bag up to me.
I'm also going to try and leave one of these in the shelter every time we travel, no matter where we go in time.
What is it? I ask.
A survival pouch of sorts,
says Jack.
I think its expected shelf life will not be affected, no matter where we put it. Or, I guess I should say, when we put it. It should still be good for as long as it's supposed to last.
So if we don't go as far back on the following trip, it would be here. Good idea, I say. I walk into the pantry and find the shelves are bare except for the blankets. What happened to all the food? I ask.
It expired decades ago, says Jack. I tossed it all in the dumpster behind the school. The garbage gets collected on Monday morning, so the food will be gone before anyone notices I've thrown it into the dumpster.
I pick up a bottle of honey off one of the shelves. And why is this here? I ask.
I bought it this morning, says Jack. I'm going to try and stock food that doesn't spoil or has a really long shelf life. That way we'll have something to eat if we don't go too far in the future.
And that? I ask, pointing to a long, flat tub filled with rich, black soil.
An experiment, says Jack. I planted some potatoes. I think they may reseed themselves over time. It might not work at all, but it's worth a try.
Jack opens a cookie jar and shows me several dollar bills.
Hopefully, wherever we go, this will still be good. I've also put some money into the survival pouch.
Seeing everything laid out like this makes it all seem too real. Suddenly, my fears return. What if we go somewhere and we can't come back? I ask.
That's a risk I'm willing to take,
says Jack.
But I won't ask you to do the same.
Something hurts inside when I hear Jack say this. It reminds me of how I felt when Jack was dating Chloe on the other Miller's Island. But this pain goes much deeper. If you're going, so am I say, surprising even myself by my total lack of hesitation. Jack smiles at me.
We'll take it slow, he says. We really don't have a choice right now since it's all in 21 but 22's hands. It's going to be a while before we understand how all of this works. And we may never understand it. So for now, let's just go with it. I don't want to force anything because I want to be sure we'll always be able to return home.
I smile because that's exactly how I feel. Even though Jack and I have been in 3 different worlds, there was one constant in each of them. Something that I never expected. But there's no way I can deny it. Miller's Island is my home.